Fire and brimstone coming down from the skies. Rivers and seas boiling.
40 years of darkness, earthquakes, volcanoes.
The dead rising from the grave.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Enough, I get the point.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes, and there was big news in the comic book industry today. Finally, the new creative team for Wonder Woman following G. Willow Wilson's run on the series has been announced, and I gotta say, I'm flabbergasted, and with me to talk about it today is Perch from Comics by Perch. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Other than the announcement, I am doing great, but I am befuddled. Mariko Tamaki?
It's both a weird and expected choice. I think Tamaki was definitely part of a group that is starting to migrate over to DC. I
call it the Bendis pipeline.
Yeah, it is absolutely that. And I do think there is still this belief. I mean, she has a history of doing kind of some tween books and some other things that DC still covets for some reason. My suspicion, though, is that Tamaki's bringing into the company and all that was probably set in motion about a month or two ago. I don't think this is a breaking story. I think her taking over this comic was probably planned after Orlando, and I think that I suspect this is a DiDio decision in a lot of cases based off that pipeline.
Yeah, it's just really surprising because when G. Willow Wilson took over Wonder Woman in October of 2018, the sales on Wonder Woman that month, and it did have an event going on where, 55,000, 44,000 for the two issues. G. Willow Wilson takes over the next month. It's about 44,000 her first issue, but the next one was already down to 37,000. And by the time she wrapped up her run on Wonder Woman, the sales were down to 28,000. She actually sliced off 33% of sales for Wonder Woman in a calendar year.
Yeah.
And Wonder Woman is a huge property for DC Comics right now, and certainly for AT&T and Time Warner.
Yes.
It's a $1 billion movie franchise, potentially. We haven't seen the sequel yet. I am flabbergasted that they didn't go out there and get a proven writer. They went for Mariko Tamaki, not known to be a big seller, in the comic book industry, not known to do great action. She did the She-Hulk stories, and I think she turned it into like a foodie blogger or something.
Yeah, I mean, there's a storyline where a kind of a food blogger reality show thing was going on. It is puzzling. I mean, on all levels. So, first off, I think Wonder Woman is probably AT&T's most valuable property right now because of the movie. They have hopes that thing will hit $1 billion internationally. Hopefully, current situation around the world is taken care of by them. People are going to go into movie theaters. That's going to put a dent on things. But I mean, this is going to be, by all accounts, DC, Time Warner, AT&T are hoping that this film is going to make the most of the films they've produced. They definitely are looking for it to get there. And it definitely has the potential to. It's stylish. It's coming in with a lot of buzz. Nobody is really complaining about it right at the moment. So that's going to be huge for them. So the comic book tie-in, you would want to be, hopefully additive, at the very least complementary. And Tamaki's, we've seen her with Supergirl. We've seen her with, as you mentioned, with She-Hulk and with X-23. Her style is certainly not action-based, not very heroic-based. Looking at some of the kind of quiet moments, I mean, I guess it depends on how you define, heroic.
Slice of life Wonder Woman just doesn't seem to do it for me.
No, I think it's definitely a bad plan. And you see on some of those, they're putting David Marquez as covers. I do think Mikkel Janin, who will be doing the art, coming out from Batman, that's great. I mean, Janin does some good things, but Janin combined with Tamaki, and we're bringing back Maxwell Lord, which makes sense since he's going to also be a character in Wonder Woman 84, the sequel. But it's a very puzzling choice. I'm with you. I'm absolutely shocked why they did that. I mean, the G. Will Wilson's run. If there was one continual complaint in shops, there was not enough kind of action. It was a lot of kind of standing around, moving around. There's a comment that Wonder Woman seemed kind of like a dope at times, being misled and just sent on these wild goose chases. And it's Wonder Woman is a tentpole character for DC. All people really want is just for Wonder Woman to go out and fight some big name villains and do some big things. Not necessarily be manipulated by Cheetah, but actually have a big battle with Cheetah and more. I mean, send her after Darkseid. She's billed as one of the top characters that DC has. She is. So she should be going after DC's biggest threats, fighting the biggest battles, the biggest kind of sacrifices and moments. That's what people want and expect from Wonder Woman. And Tamaki has never delivered that, and it is going to be shipped twice monthly in as well. So that's a heavy schedule for both Janet and Tamaki. It's got bad news written all over it.
Yeah, I feel you, and it's so weird because Wonder Woman's basically been dormant for over a year now. There's no buzz for that series. I never hear anyone come into my comments be like, "You need to read Wonder Woman," or I don't even talk about the comic, and nobody cares. It's never brought up. And to go and actually get a lower profile, less exciting writer than G. Willow Wilson was hard, and they actually knocked it out of the park. I don't know how they did it. And I do disagree with you a bit on Michael Yannon. I think he's a really good artist, but his art is very sleek, and I don't think it really fits a fantasy setting like we normally see with Wonder Woman, as far as Themyscira and some of the other settings that you're going to see in a comic book like that. Carrie Nord, who was with G. Willow Wilson, absolutely. Liam Sharp, who I believe did Wonder Woman when Rebirth happened, perfect artist for something like that. Michael Yannon, I see him on Batman Beyond maybe, or Legion of Superheroes, something with a little bit of a sleeker setting, but I don't know that he'll fit good in that. And I can tell you could tell in that final issues of Batman when he didn't have much time, because his art ends up looking very flat, not dynamic at all, and very uninteresting to look at if he isn't given time to really get in there and make it look great.
So I can agree with all those statements. I think Michael Yannon did some work on Justice League Dark, and so I've seen Wonder Woman in that context, and I think it works very well for certain settings. It's kind of like you say, I think when it's magic, when it's cosmic, when it's kind of big superhero action, then I think it works. I think the stuff he did with Constantine and Deadpool, or not Deadpool, sorry, Deadman, wrong company. These elements, he's got it to where if the setting is right, I think it could be great. I think it would come back to, again, what's the story that you're going to put Wonder Woman in? If you said we're going to put Wonder Woman in, we're going to have her do a major kind of burst through DC's biggest villains and do some cosmic action, I think Yannon would be a good pick. But if it is going to be more of the kind of that the kind of the elements you're talking about, then I think it's trouble. But also, you hit upon a great point. He does struggle when he's got a really aggressive shipping schedule. So once again, twice monthly, Tamaki and Yannon, that's a recipe for very rushed artwork, very repeated panels and other things. I don't know. It worries me for sure. And I guess I'm speechless. I'm baffled. Why in the world? Why in the world would you do this? You've got a major movie, more market. I mean, no character in DC come summer is going to have as much outside media attention as Wonder Woman. Arguably, both Marvel and DC. That the Wonder Woman is going to be everywhere outside of comics. So you would want to have just people that can knock it out of the park, and I don't get it.
So interesting enough, Wonder Woman just had her 750th issue, and Tamaki was in that issue or in that comic book, and her story was flat. It was boring. It did not stand out. Funny enough, the writer that did stand out was Vita Ayala, so I thought maybe she would get the gig. She's certainly more of an action-based writer than Mariko Tamaki, and she's not even really that. Gail Simone's sitting out there. She's had wonderful runs with Wonder Woman that have stood the test of time. There were other options out there. I cannot believe that they did this, with the exposure that Wonder Woman's going to have. This was an opportunity to garner sales and get new interest in the title, and I don't see that happening at all.
It's a very strange choice. Absolutely not one I would make, and I just I don't get it. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, maybe we're going to see a brand new Tamaki out of this, and we'll all be shocked. And I'm hoping to eat my words. I absolutely want this title to do well and to see some big action from Wonder Woman, because we haven't seen it now in years. We need that character doing big major things, and hopefully we do not get a introspective look into Wonder Woman, her supporting cast, and reality cooking shows.
Yeah, I think, maybe James Robinson was the last writer to really do that with her. Although she has, had action in Justice League Dark, obviously, but I don't know. I find it very confusing, but maybe she will be the next Tom Taylor when she finally gets a book over at DC, and maybe she'll hit it out the park like Deceased, which I never would have saw coming personally. Do you have anything else you want to say? On the Mariko Tamaki, Michael Yannon as the new creative team on Wonder Woman.
No, I mean, hope springs eternal. Let's hope it's good. I mean, for a lot of people, Justice League Dark is the Wonder Woman story they read, not Wonder Woman, just because they seem like there's bigger threats, bigger things going on there. I hope it can turn around.
Yeah, well, hopefully, there are Wonder Woman fans out there. I want them to have the best possible product, and there are going to be new readers, likely a lot of new female readers, maybe going to a comic shop wanting to pick up that Wonder Woman comic after they watch the movie, and hopefully they're not disappointed.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks, Perch. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.